I think the future is specifically Bitcoin.
That's Chamath Palihapitiya, and he has a bold Bitcoin prediction that will have you kicking yourself if you were stuck on the sidelines. We're going to be looking at three things. Who is Chamath Palihapitiya? What's his thoughts on Bitcoin? Then we're going to look at Bitcoin versus stocks versus gold. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin versus gold chart and a very, very historic head and shoulders pattern that's moving to the upside that has a shocking price analysis. You can say it is bullish by even my standards. Now let's go ahead and rewind a little bit. Who is Chamath Palihapitiya? Well, if you don't know, he's a famous entrepreneur, very early AOL engineer, also one of the first executives at Facebook, and he has founded Social Capital, and they invest a lot of money in crypto as well as other companies. Not only that, he's a minority holder of the Golden State Warriors. So big shout out to all the basketball fans out there. And it's just great seeing Chamath flip a 180 because not that long ago, he was slightly bearish on crypto. This was during the bear market. He earmarked $3 billion for a new fund, but it was very scant on crypto. For him to say all roads point to Bitcoin, it is looking very, very bullish. But in fact, let's go ahead and play the rest of the clip.
Where do you guys invest here? I mean, Chamath, do you care about how the market's positioned or how you're positioned in this election right now? And based on how we're seeing markets trade and what these kind of macro indicators are telling us, or are you just business as usual, heads down, invest and build as you always have?
Yeah, I think that you can't trade these things. And any attempt to do it is probably a level of false precision where you're going to lose more money. And there's a lot of slippage in even just trying to execute it. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I said the breakout asset was going to be Bitcoin. I think it looks like it's going to be the resounding inflation hedge asset for the next 50 or 100 years. So that die has been cast. I think you're seeing the last vestiges of people using gold as a rational economic insurance policy, but I think the future is specifically Bitcoin on that dimension.
Now we know how it stands. It is the bet to make over the next 50 or 100 years. Now we're going to be looking at stocks versus Bitcoin versus gold. And they're going to call them equities. Equities, simply shares in the ownership of a company. So when we're talking about equities, we are talking about stocks. Now look at what's going on. Bitcoin poised to follow the path of the S&P 500 and gold, and is now eyeing a target of $230,000. So here you can see gold cup and handle forming, and then gold had a breakout. S&P 500 cup and handle breakout, and then we're expecting Bitcoin to follow suit, to follow in gold and follow in the stock market's footsteps here. And so, as you can tell, there's a little bit of a divergence forming. But what happens when there is a divergence with Bitcoin, the rest of crypto, and the rest of crypto versus gold? So this is kind of comparing it to gold's price. So back here in 2020, we saw a divergence that led to a pump. Now, two things very, very interesting. If you look at a 4-year cycle, this is basically where we're at in the 4-year cycle last time. And so now when you fast forward to today, it looks like we're setting up something very, very similar. Second thing, look how everything started to converge after the divergence. And so if everything converges, I do expect you see a lot of asset prices move to the upside. And then last but not least, I say we'll look at the head and shoulders pattern. And then I have a very, very insane Bitcoin chart I want to show you, showing that 240 is quite doable. So this is Bitcoin USD compared against gold. So you can see the Bitcoin gold trading pair forming a head and shoulders pattern. What is a head and shoulders pattern, you might be wondering? Or here you can see head and shoulders pattern, chart formation with a baseline with 3 peaks. You got 2 on the outside or close in height, the shoulders, and then you got the middle one is the highest. Here you can see a perfect example. And when we go back to this gold Bitcoin trading pair, you can see the head and shoulders forming right here. So we still got to come up to finish the shoulder, and then typically you can then move the distance of the head. That's going to give us pretty close to this $240,000 target. But then I want to show you something in the charts also pushing for 240K. We're going to go ahead and do a Fibonacci extension. We're going to go from the swing high to the swing low. And then folks, it's going to give us a pretty unique target to the upside. And if we go ahead and move this mouse all the way up there, look at that, $239,000, almost to the penny, hitting 240K. So we got a lot of factors pointing. Bitcoin is just now starting the final leg of this bull run, and this is going to be the most exciting part of the journey. You do not want to be stuck on the sidelines. If you're looking at what the smartest people in the investing world are saying, and if you're looking at some of these historical charts, you'll see Bitcoin primed for a pump. Let me know. 240 might be the target, and I'll see you and your Bitcoin bags at the top.